In court this week, prosecutors gave the jury a closer look at what federal agents found when they raided Diddy's Florida mansion. And let me tell you right now, this may have just buried Diddy. The raid happened in March 2024 and was broadcast live on TV. Agents stormed not only his home in Miami Beach, but also another house in Los Angeles. That was the moment the public found out Diddy was being investigated for serious crimes. Prosecutors spent the 8th day of the trial walking jurors through the raid in Miami. They're trying to prove Diddy ran a dangerous criminal operation that involves drug use and other illegal activity.
Bottles of baby oil and Astroglide all together, and mind you, this is only out of one house, and they got a total of 1,000 bottles from all of the houses. This box right here is the box that Diddy would keep his green stuff in. This is not the wooden box that you heard the Homeland Security agent talk about. That box is actually right here, and this is what contained a numerous amount of different illegal substances. The fact that Diddy had liquid MDMA and liquid METH is crazy. This is how you know this man does not care. He literally had some of this stuff just laying out in the open right next to a $100 bill. Substances on different things. This is the Gucci bag that had a whole bunch of more substances in it that Diddy is trying to say is somebody else's. He had the Homeland Security agent look at a photo that was not shown to the public or other people that were in the courtroom, only to the jury. And he's basically doing this trying to say that somebody else was obviously in a photo with this Gucci bag. This right here is Golden Teachers, and it is a pill form of mushrooms. Diddy had so many weapons with the serial numbers shaved off of them that it's crazy. Like, he had these ones wrapped in a towel. These parts were found in his closet. This one was in a suitcase. Diddy's argument to the Homeland Security agent was really, don't you have weapons in your home? Well, duh, he's an agent, and I'm sure he doesn't have weapons that have shaved serial numbers. He had a whole bunch of 7-inch high heels, and I'm sorry, I'm confused. What girls are coming over to your house without shoes on? Also, things like toys and rope, that vital honey that helps you stay performing. Here's another drawer that was filled with outfits and toys. These are the boots sitting next to Diddy's shoes, where he would have 3 cell phones hidden inside these boots. And I'm confused. Like, why are you hiding cell phones and boots? I don't know if this is like a blackmail thing, if this is where he kept these freakoff videos, or really what is going on. And last but not least, this is a picture of Diddy's bathroom where he has messages wrote on his mirror with lipstick. And I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of creepy because these messages don't make sense. I want to know, is Diddy writing this to himself on his mirror in his bathroom? In marker it says, what do you want? And then it says, love you, love Diddy. And then it says, you're a legend. I can't tell what this says, but then it says, Team Puff Dad.
While items like baby oil and high heels aren't illegal on their own, prosecutors argue they played a role in what they describe as freak-off parties. Wild, sexually charged events allegedly involving women and male sex workers. According to testimony from Cassandra Ventura, known publicly as Cassie, she attended hundreds of these gatherings. She told the court that Diddy enforced strict rules about her appearance, often directing her to reapply oil so her skin would appear glistening. The disturbing allegation, however, is that this baby oil was reportedly laced with drugs, adding a far more sinister layer to the parties in question.
It's not baby oil. It's GHB. Who has 1,000 bottles of baby oil? Baby oil was such a big part of all these parties and all the things that Diddy did to his victims. Some celebrities would have made a joke about it here and there. We would have heard about it. Especially Cookie Chicken, he'd be paid to shut her mouth. Daphne would have cracked a joke about it, for sure. I just watched this man's TikTok about how it's not baby oil, it has to be laced with drugs. So as I'm reading the comments, someone said, that's why Jaguar Wright said in one of her interviews at the end, she said blink twice. Blink Twice was a movie with Channing Tatum. He would spray perfume onto women who would make them forget everything. So then somebody else in the comments said, yeah, and GHB is heroin. So I look up, what is it called on the street? Look at the last one. Liquid ecstasy. Side effects that include seizures and comas It was taken off shelves or something in like the 60s. What is GHB used for in bodybuilding? Performance enhancement active. What are the positive side effects of GHB? Feelings of euphoria. What is GHB for parents? Usually available as a clear liquid. It's not baby oil. It just makes sense because why would the feds compensate oil? How do you get so many people to comply with the feds' money? You drug them.
What's particularly noteworthy is that prosecutors are expected to call rapper Kid Cudi to the stand later this week. They allege that Diddy became jealous and threatening after learning that Cassie was in a relationship with Cudi, whose real name is Scott Mescudi. While his appearance hasn't been officially confirmed, he could take the stand as early as Thursday, and if he does, he may have a lot to reveal.
So there are actually 2 charges that fall under the RICO charge that Diddy might be found guilty of just based on Kid Cudi. Government alleged in the early morning hours of December 22nd, 2011, the defendant and a co-conspirator kidnapped an individual at Pow Pow Point to facilitate a break-in and entering into the residence of another person called Individual 1. Multiple witnesses would testify at trial to the events surrounding the kidnapping and the break-in. They are also corroborated by police reports and other records. Approximately 2 weeks later, the defendant's co-conspirators set fire to Individual 1's vehicle by slicing open the car's convertible top. Police and fire department reports extensively document the arson and conclude that the fire was intentionally set. Now, under Diddy's big RICO charge, some of the allegations that fall underneath of it are arson and kidnapping. And just to remind you, to be found guilty of the RICO charge, you only have to prove 2 allegations in total. There are a lot more than 2 that fall under Diddy's RICO charge. And this is a big thing that I've seen people so confused about. Where is the RICO? Every single testimony you hear where they bring up security, assistance, and more, that is your RICO. They are alleging that Diddy used co-conspirators in a lot of different illegal activities, which would make it a criminal enterprise, hence RICO charges. Just like with this stuff with Kid Cudi, where they say Diddy and his co-conspirators, or just the co-conspirators themselves. Now, another crazy thing that I found out, they also plan to use a 911 call somebody placed when Kid Cudi's home was robbed. And we know his home was robbed on December 22nd of 2011. And we know how Cassie Ventura's mother testified today, and she was talking about how she sent Diddy $20,000 because Cassie sent her an email saying that Diddy was threatening her and Kid Cudi. Cassie Ventura sent this email to her mom one day after Kid Cudi's house was broken into on December 23rd of 2011. And she said, threats have been made towards me by Sean Puckett Combs that he is going to release 2 tapes of me, one on Christmas Day, maybe, or right after, or another one sometime soon after that. He also said that he will be having someone hurt me and Kid Cudi physically. He made a point that it wouldn't be by his hands. He actually said he'd be out of the country when it happens, hence by a co-conspirator. We know 2 weeks after this incident is when Kid Cudi's car would get blown.
After this incident that Kid Cudi's car was allegedly blown up, an event that raised even more serious concerns. Following 4 days of emotional and graphic testimony from Cassie, in which she described drug-fueled sex marathons, the prosecution is now beginning to call additional witnesses to corroborate her account. Among them is Cassie's mother, who testified that she witnessed visible bruises and swelling on her daughter after alleged abuse by Diddy. 2 other men also took the stand, claiming they were paid to have sex with Cassie, while Diddy watched and gave instructions. An act they described as sexual choreography, where they were expected to remain passive and follow his lead.
For his mom, which the defense didn't want to hear from. And a lot of people thought, well, wonder why she's testifying. Would it be gratuitous in some way? Would she move the needle in either direction? But she talked about being scared for her daughter's safety and this $20,000 loan. What happened?
So let me get to that in a second. First, I want to read you an email that was shown to the jury as an exhibit in court. This is an email that Cassie sent to her mother and Capricorn Clark, who was one of Diddy's employees.
Under an alias, right?
Under an alias. And yes, here's what she wrote. The threats that have been made to me by Sean Puffy Combs are that he is going to release 2 explicit sex tapes of me. One on Christmas Day, maybe before or right after, and another sometime soon after that. He also said that he will be having someone hurt me, in Scott Muscuddy, you said, Kid Cudi, physically. He made a point that it wouldn't be by his hands. He actually said he'd be out of the country when it happened. So, Cassie's mom testifies on the stand. When she read this email, she was physically ill. And of course she would be. This is her daughter. She's scared for her life. So then she said that Diddy demanded that she pay $20,000, as you said, because he was upset that Cassie was with another man. That would be Kid Cudi. And he said, I spent $20,000 on your daughter, so you better pay it back. Now you have Diddy, who at one point was a billionaire, but at this point at least is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and is allowing the mother of his girlfriend to take out a home equity loan to wire the money. He accepted that money, but then he sent it back. Now I want to bring up one more exhibit. There are photos of Cassie with bruises on her body that were shown